2 balls and a strike to count on Taylor. Reyes fires, swinging a drive, deep left field. It's his way back. Welcome on, Chris Taylor.
What's up, everyone? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined today by Daniel Starkand. Daniel, I've got bad news. We're talking MLB lockout, and it does not look good. But here are my thoughts and some updates on where things have been over the past week or so. I'll start up by saying this. I think this lockout should be like case study number 1 for every PR class for the next decade, because it's everything is posturing, everything is public relations type stuff. It's all pressure inducing. But maybe what's most interesting to me is seeing how the owners in particular are navigating this in a social media age that they are clearly not used to. It's not newspaper news through reporters anymore. This is the age of Twitter and Instagram, where players can get their message out directly. And in my opinion, I think the owners are underestimating that. Here's what I mean. On February 1st, that was the last bit of negotiations that we were aware of. The Players Association had come with a proposal. As you can imagine, it did not go well. And then 2 days later, the MLB had said, hey, we're going to get you a proposal in the next 2 days. That never happened. Instead, they request federal mediation. The Major League Baseball Players Association ends up going on to decline. The Players Association said this, quote, "The clearest path to a fair and timely agreement is to get back to the table. Players stand ready to negotiate." MLB responds, hey, our goal is to have spring training and opening day happen on time. It's clear the most productive path forward would be the involvement of an impartial third party. It's hard to understand why a party that wants to make an agreement would reject mediation. They go on to say MLB remains committed to offering solutions at the table and reaching a fair agreement for both sides. The whole thing is a mess. But what's happening to me is that MLB wants you and me, Daniel, and the fans everywhere to believe that their call for a mediator was a good faith action. Hey, we're just trying to get an unbiased third party and we're trying to make this work. And that by rejecting it, which by the way, they knew the players would reject it, they're trying to paint the players as the problem here. And in some corners of Twitter, unfortunately, it's working. But the truth is, you can see right through this. This whole charade by the owners is bogus. First, even if they went into mediation, there's nothing binding. It's not like somebody gets to make a decision and everybody has to sign. It would just be a negotiation process where then at the end, one side could opt out. The reason we know that is because they went to mediation in 1994. The Players Association got absolutely hosed by the mediator and the owners, and they rejected it. As a result, we lost the 94 World Series. We lost the start of the 1995 season as well. And so, second, on top of that, the MLB sitting here saying it's hard to understand why someone who wants to make an agreement would reject mediation. But it doesn't make sense. And this is where the players and social media come in. I love this quote from Jameson Talon. I could have found this from like any one of 1,000 different players, but he said this: if the goal is to get players on the field ASAP, then why did it take 43 days after the lockout to even hear from MLB? Didn't seem like a priority then. Why did we not get a counterproposal this week? It's extremely tired antics and optics. The MLB says they're committed to making a deal. But Daniel, have you seen anything that makes you believe that MLB is actually interested in making a deal?
At this time, no. I mean, I would assume they want to make a deal eventually, just because obviously everyone wants baseball to come back. But to this point, they haven't made any effort. You just laid it out pretty well. Like, to go 43 days or whatever you just said, like without even speaking, like what are we doing here? And I know it kind of reminds me of the trade deadline, where it's like no one's motivated to make a deal until the day of the deadline, just because you have until that time. And with, spring training technically hasn't started yet. Normally pitchers and catchers would be reporting in about a week. Obviously that's not going to happen, but until they start losing actual games and such, they're not in a huge rush to do anything. But with that being said, we're right up against it at this point. Like, and we know it's not like you're just going to come together and make a deal in one day. Like, this stuff takes time. And for you to go over a month without even proposing anything, without even speaking, and then once you guys do speak, the Players Association makes a proposal, and then you say you're going to counter it, and then 2 days later come back and not only don't counter it, but then you say you want to get a mediator involved. To me, you just don't seem all that interested in getting anything done at this specific time. And that's obviously not going to solve any of the issues here. I think it's pretty clear, like, these two sides have been going at it for 2-3 years now, whatever it's been since the pandemic started. They had all these negotiations for the 2020 season, which were not, did not go well. So we kind of knew that something similar was going to happen here. But with that being said, I still thought by now, like, that there were at least be some sort of progress made. And from the reports we've seen, there's really been zero progress.
Yeah.
It feels like.
Yeah, it's absolutely frustrating. And it's fascinating to me because the owners, again, like, I've seen on Twitter, I was having a conversation with someone saying, hey, well, it takes two to tango. Like, there's two parties here, right? That's like saying a fight in which one guy gets sucker punched in the back of the head. Well, hey, it takes two people to fight. I mean, yes, technically there were two bodies involved in the fight, but to say that to throw out it takes two people as if it's 50-50 blame at all times is crazy. Are the players somewhat to blame? Maybe, but even if they were, it's like closer to 10% than it is to 50%. As we've said, who locked out who? The owners locked out the players, okay? Who took 43 days to start negotiations? The owners, not the players. Because again, the owners locked the players out. The owners are then the ones that are obligated to sort of go to the bargaining table. The Players Association has honed in on said, here are three things. And by the way, the numbers are on their side. MLB revenue since 2015 is up 30%. Team value since 2011 up 320%. Since 2017, the average MLB player salary has dropped 6.4%. The median salary in MLB has dropped 30%. So you've all seen the graph that The Athletic did, right? Values and whatnot going up and player salaries remaining flat. So to me, I'm more worried than ever because of a couple things. First of all, the owners to me seem completely irrational. They are so used to winning in these agreements that they can't even seem to stomach or fathom the idea of conceding on any front. And yet on the other side, the players have access to social media. The players sound pissed. They sound motivated. They sound dug in. And I think the fact that because they have social media, because they can get people like you and I, Daniel, to understand their plight a little bit more clearly, I think they're going to dig in their heels anymore. And as you said, deadline spur action, there is no deadline. Like, I mean, we could say opening day is the deadline, but there is not a date or a number where it's like, if we don't get to this date, then we are in trouble. The trade deadline comes and goes and you can't make trades. This one, it's like, it's all vague. Well, we need 2 weeks of spring training or 3 weeks or opening day, or do we need 162? So, the headline says MLB lockout outlook getting more and more bleak. I've said for the last month or two that I don't think opening day is happening, and I remain more confident in that today than I was previously.
Yeah. I mean, if they wanted to start on time, like they'd have to get something done in the next couple weeks here. And from the progress we've seen, which is basically none, that's clearly not happening. But I thought you made a couple good points that I agree with. The first thing is you said that it was the owner's decision to even start this lockout. Like it wasn't a mutual decision there, and the reason they gave was they thought that locking the players out would speed up the process of negotiations. And from everything we've seen, it's been the exact opposite of that. Like the owners have had zero motivation to speed up this process whatsoever. So that there's one lie already there.
Yeah.
And then I think one point that needs to be made is I've seen from a lot of fans on social media that they're saying, like, what are the players even arguing about here? Like, guys are getting paid. Like, Corey Seager just signed for $300 million. Like, Max Scherzer just signed for more than $40 million annually, the highest AAV ever. Excuse me. But the point of this lockout, it's not about those guys. Like, the stars are going to get paid no matter what because they're the biggest attractions. This is about the minimum salary guys. Like, they want to increase the minimum. They want to get to arbitration quicker. They want to get to free agency quicker. This is more about the guys who aren't making the $20 million, a year, $30 million a year. Like, those guys are going to do fine. It's also about, the aging veterans who sometimes are forced to sign minor league deals just because teams aren't willing to pay the $3 million for a utility guy or whatever the case may be. Like, teams are trying to save money however they can. Yeah. And a lot of times it's the end of the roster guys that are suffering because of that. So that's more what this is about for the Players Association. They're fighting to get those guys more money, not necessarily the Corey Seagers and Max Scherzers.
Yeah, because MLB says, hey, we don't have a salary cap. It's like, yeah, but you have a luxury tax threshold that has essentially operated. You look at how many teams have gone over it. The number is incredibly small. The number of teams that repeat is incredibly small. And so, hey, we don't have a salary cap. Well, actually, yes, you do, because technically it's not a salary cap. Everyone is treating it like a salary cap. They've got to fix tanking. They've got to fix all these things. The players have negotiated. They're willing to expand the postseason. They're willing to put patches on jerseys, little things like that, the universal DH, etc. But there has to be, two people sitting down willing to make a deal, and I have not seen anything that makes me believe that the owners are actually willing to compromise. They're willing to make a deal on their own terms, but when the players say we want a $100 million bonus pool, and the owners come back and say, fine, we'll give you $10 million, it's like, okay, you've just told me everything I need to know. That's Daniel Starkand. My name is Jeff Spiegel. As always, we appreciate you joining us. This has been Dodger Heads presented by DodgerBlue.com. Please click subscribe, ring the notification bell. We'll see you next time.